Dear Matt, our YouTube series has been going well, but to be honest, I've been feeling a sense of stagnation I can't ignore. When we started this channel, we believed every chapter deserved its own video, but we've fallen way behind the chapter releases, and the prospect of us catching up seems impossible. We can attempt to muster on, but the current state is unsustainable. Successful YouTubers dedicate their whole lives to the work. The speed and quality of content creation can only be guaranteed when you are fully committed to the mission. Such focus could raise our channel to never imagined levels of success. I'm thinking about quitting my job to become a YouTuber full-time. Actually, this approach works best as a partnership. So, if you're not too attached to your career, why don't you quit with me, friend? We'll go into business for ourselves and realize the dreams we've always had for our lives. What do you think?
I'm not interested. Too much effort.
Alright then, I won't do it either. Let's just cover a bunch of chapters at once. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Today we're talking about how faith is the strongest force in One Punch Man, even stronger than Saitama. Wait, come on, Saitama? Really? Yes, actually even stronger than Saitama. If you pay close enough attention, you'll see that the subject of spirit comes up in the story pretty much all the time. It was one of the active ingredients in Saitama's godly training regimen. It's the source of strength heroes tap into to fight against impossible odds. And it's even suggested that a lack of it may be what allows God to exert his control over others. For all intents and purposes, in the story of One Punch Man, spirit equals power. And I think this block of chapters is one subtly telling us that the metaphysical fuel boosting and enriching every single hero's spirit, ultimately, is faith in something greater than themselves. Whether that be a person, a concept, or yes, even an inanimate object. And I realize that this intro may sound like some sort of late night infomercial for some quasi-religious membership, but I promise you, I am not trying to recruit you into a cult. Promise. Or am I?
Tank Top Master!
Just doing my workout. Tuesday's arms and back.
If you look closely, every scene in Chapter 185 touches on faith or religion in some way. Right at the start, Flashy Flash is both figuratively and literally searching for God. And for maybe the first time in his life, he's taken on a quest to protect someone he cares about. Oh, and he's also recently discovered Saitama, and he's decided to accept him into his life. We get a scene of Child Emperor interacting with a character who is actually for real resurrected. We check in with Darkshine, who has lost his faith in his own invincibility, and we see that it's pretty much destroyed him spiritually. We get a monster attack where they claim that the purpose is a divine calling. Heck, even the cover kind of makes Genos look suspiciously like a Catholic priest. Don't you think? So what does this have to do with Tank Top Master? Well, I'd argue he has more faith than any other character in the series. And this is a point I'd like to argue using my good friend, the title. Tank Top Master has absolute faith in a full-blown religion centered on mastery of wearing a tank top. It's a bit out there, but it's not a cult, I swear. Let's be honest, there's no arguing that Tank Top Mastery isn't a religion at this point. Tank Top Master is like the Pope or Prophet. The Tank Toppers are the zealous disciples. They hold regular meetings where they discuss the meaning and mysticism of tank tops and how this meaning can be applied to their daily life. In this religion, a tank top is as close as you can get to God. Well, except for the character who's literally named God, but you know what I mean. And honestly, I think one is telling us that Tank Top Master is a better person for the strength of his faith. I mean, can you think of another character in the series that has their shit together more than Tank Top Master? It shows through in literally every panel he appears in. He's an amazing leader who lets his followers find their own path. He never feels betrayed or vengeful, and he never blames others for his shortcomings. Remember how both him and Darkshine were injured in the Monster Association battle? One maybe a little bit more than the other? Oh dear God. Yet, while Darkshine's spirit has been utterly shattered, Tank Top Master is right back on the battlefield more pumped up than ever. For this guy, every setback is just another opportunity for self-improvement. Were you embarrassed by the terrifying power of machines?
Hit the gym!
Tossed around like a rag doll by a pint-sized Esper?
Hit the gym!
Converted into mashed potatoes by a psychotic pajama-clad pigman?
Hit the gym!
Whew. I think I'm really starting to understand this whole tank top thing. And I think I finally see why characters are still joining the tank top army. Even citing his performance on the battlefield as the thing that inspired them. Remember, this is a world where if you want to get strong, you've got options. You can join a world-class dojo, You can follow the path of the sword, you can get yourself cyborgified, you can get yourself tricked by your best friend with bubblegum face. But the people, they keep choosing the tank top because it gives them something to believe in. A higher power. Something that inspires them to live up to the ideals of their master.
So yeah, definitely not a cult. I don't think I can make that any more clear.
So, Tank Top Master wins Chapter 185. Okay, what's next?
Saitama!
そうか。
Speaking of masters inspiring their disciples to live up to certain ideals, let's talk a little bit about Saitama. Chapter 186 features Genos pouring his heart out and considering an all-new direction for his journey. And while the whole chapter serves as a build-up to an hilarious joke, which perfectly mirrors the joke from when they agreed to join the Hero Association in the first place, there's actually a lot here that feeds into the themes of faith. Now, the topic of faith is interesting when it comes to Saitama. At the very start of the series, we learn that his spirit was originally unstoppable as he worked towards his goal of becoming a hero. But by the present day, he genuinely seems to be broken, like an empty husk of a man. After all, when you've essentially become a god yourself, what's there left to believe in? And make no mistake, the allusions to Saitama as a living god have been pretty stark throughout this entire story. At this point, I have no doubt that this is how one wants us to think of him. So, this is where Genos comes in. From the moment he becomes Saitama's disciple, the story becomes about the gradual restoration of Saitama's spirit as a result of the unshakable faith that Genos has for his master. And this faith is most often exemplified in the scenes where we get what I like to call
Godly Saitama!
そうか。
You all know what I'm talking about. It's that serious, majestic look that Saitama gets right when he's about to spit some wisdom. Like when he goes from this, Genos, you may not have gotten stronger, but you've at least gotten brighter, to this, Genos, you may not have gotten stronger, but at least you've gotten brighter. And the most important thing to note about all of this is title? While in his god mode appearance, Saitama often surprisingly has insightful wisdom, way beyond finding grocery sales, that other characters can have faith in. Saitama's always insisted that he has nothing of value to teach anyone, but while he's in his god mode, he actually tends to have pretty good advice. He suggested Genos aim for the top 10 of the S-Class and focus on building his mental strength, a goal which Genos has been steadily accomplishing, I might add. And he even convinced Tatsumaki to let Fubuki keep her group together by sharing his own experience of getting stronger. In Chapter 186, we get another small glimpse of God Mode Saitama that's really easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Saitama is looking wistfully off into the distance as Genos makes his best pitch for his master to join him in transferring to the Neo Heroes. We cut back to Saitama, in his God Mode, while he continues reflecting. This is the last image we see before he declines Genos' offer, saying that it's just too much effort. Yes, it's a terrific gag, but I can't help but think that one is trying to tell us that there may be a bit more going on here than meets the eye. Is it possible that his godly instincts are warning him about the new Hero Association that we know very little about? Either way, Genos immediately dropping the idea, while also a terrific punchline, simply reinforces that his faith in his master is absolute. Honestly, it's such a wholesome relationship between these two. Hey Matt, are you looking for any wisdom or advice? You know I'd be happy to lend an ear.
Sorry, pretty busy over here.
Rightio. Next.
Mumen Rider!
I wouldn't sell my bike for all the money in the world.
If faith is, indeed, connected to strength, then it would logically follow that Mumen Rider must be one of the strongest characters in the entire series. After all, his faith in justice and his fellow man has left him absolutely overflowing with spirit. And while obviously his strength isn't the sort that can punch meteors out of the sky, Mumen Rider represents strength in a very different, but I'd argue equally important way. And that's his ability to bring hope to the hopeless and inspire others to follow in his path. To make my point, gather around and I'll tell you a story of Mad Devil Yankee. Don't be shy, gather around, come close, come close. Mad Devil Yankee was a regular citizen who was so inspired by Mumen Rider's courage that he immediately became a hero and has since reached Class B Rank 4. Wait a minute, a regular citizen joining the Hero Association and climbing to the top of the B class after only 2 months? That's pretty impressive, and I feel like I've heard that before. Where was it? Who was it? Wildhorn, that's it. It was Wildhorn, that's who I was thinking of. Anyway, despite Mad Devil Yankee having tremendous faith in heroes, he's nevertheless caught up in the corrupt gambling ring of the Hero Association, and coerced into fighting in a rigged match against his will. He knows he's allowed himself to be corrupted, but he feels absolutely powerless to change the situation. When the monster turns out to be far stronger than anyone expected, Mad Devil Yankee finds himself getting beaten to a pulp. At his lowest moment, he's even convinced that all of this is divine punishment for disgracing the spirit of real heroes. Divine. There's that word again. Could this be another excuse for a title? Mad Devil Yankee is saved by finding his faith in the spirit of heroes, most particularly from the example set by Mumen Rider. Despite his situation, he doesn't give up. In remembering the hero that inspired him in the first place, Mad Devil Yankee commits to standing his ground and facing this threat, even if it means his own death. Even just the memory of Mumen Rider's courage restores his spirit, and Mad Devil Yankee launches one last desperate attack. When who should show up but Saitama, obliterating the monster in with one punch and saving Mad Devil Yankee's life. Our story closes with none other than Mumen Rider himself, taking Mad Devil Yankee to the hospital. The B-class hero having ultimately lived up to the inspirational example, and both riding off into the sunset. Now, was it just a coincidence that a man finding his faith in a moment of crisis just happened to be saved out of nowhere by a hero who's regularly regarded as a divine presence? Well, I'll let you decide. King! We finish off our exploration of faith in One Punch Man with King, the undisputed star of chapters 188 and 189. And hold on one sec, I just need to quickly open this jar of lentils for my grandma. You know, she's a little bit old and she's not quite strong enough to open it, but, you know, this should be a piece of cake for me. In many ways, King can almost be considered the anti-Saitama. Where Saitama has unlimited power and lives his life in complete obscurity, King is famous for being the world's strongest man despite having no great strength whatsoever. Yes, I know. It's hotly debated whether King actually has some in-universe superpower or whether he's simply the beneficiary of some unstoppable plot armor. The key point here is that he doesn't know that he has any great strength. That point is actually central to his character. It also plays into the themes of faith that we've been discussing. At the start of the series, Saitama had lost his faith because there was no greater power for him to believe in. Conversely, King started the series without faith because he knew himself to be a fraud with a reputation that was completely unearned. Upon finding one another, both King and Saitama have found the exact sort of human connection each needed, which sounds like the sort of extraordinary claim that needs to be reinforced by, you guessed it, a title! Both King and Saitama are gradually restoring their faith through playing video games. What, you don't believe me? Just think about it. Through video games, Saitama has finally found the sort of challenge that fills his spirit with new opportunities for growth, once again feeling the thrill of a battle, and as well as the crushing despair of defeat. It gives us hope that he's maybe slowly realizing that his ability to punch enemies into dust doesn't mean that his life is without growth potential. As for King, he's finally discovered the prodigious power that he's always credited for, and can finally accept the title of best in the world. It gives us hope that he's maybe slowly realizing that he has the qualities that actually make a difference, and that even with just his reputation, he has the ability to be the hero that everyone believes him to be. And there you have it, kids. For the sake of your spirit, you just need to play a shitload more video games. You hear that, Matt?
Yeah, no shit.
It's King's godly reputation that brings us to chapter 188, where we see Atomic Samurai questioning his faith in the Hero Association. Silver Fang was one of the only heroes he respected and who could inspire him to grow. Now that Bang has retired, there's really only one man left who can convince Kamikaze that continuing on as a professional hero is a worthwhile effort. Oh, it's King, by the way. I wasn't sure if I was making that clear. You know what? This will all be a lot easier to explain if I just use a title. Atomic Samurai outright says that King is the only thing that can restore his faith in the Hero Association. Oh shit! I used the title too much and it broke! Title, no! Anyway, that's probably a sign I should wrap this up. When looking at it from this perspective, Atomic Samurai's actions make a lot more sense. He's not just some overly aggressive meathead picking fights, though maybe he's still a little bit of that. He's a man at a crossroads, and he's looking for any sign that he's still on the right path. And when that fateful moment approaches and Atomic Samurai puts King to the test, King not only delivers, he fucking serves. His feat in this chapter is extremely impressive. It's not just that he was able to BS his way through the confrontation. King's reputation has nearly infinite capacity to impact the super beings that constantly confront him. It short-circuits every rational thought, every impulse, and every sharpened instinct trained into a warrior over any number of years. All three sword disciples couldn't decide whether to trust their instincts on King's openings, or to believe it just had to be a strategic ploy from a prodigy such as King. Their faith in his abilities in this moment is undeniable. And then we get Atomic Samurai. He's completely shaken to his core, having witnessed what he may as well believe to be a miracle. An honest-to-God miracle. Again, all due to King's reputation. The impact of this is massive. Atomic Samurai is utterly humbled, believing that even King's amateur sword skill has completely surpassed anything he could dream of. Faith in the idea of King is so powerful that it not only restored Atomic Samurai's commitment to the Hero Association, it even made this superhuman being start his training from scratch to overcome his limits. And if that wasn't a testament to the power of faith in this series, I don't know what is. Which is why I have faith that these were the best character moments from chapters 185 to 189. Peace be with you.
Honourable mentions! Genos!
In this discussion of faith in One Punch Man, it's worth noting that Genos' entire faith is actually in two godly beings. A god that stands for justice, and a god that stands for evil, the Mad Cyborg. After reading this chapter, I really can't explain Genos' certainty in the strength of the Mad Cyborg as anything other than a sort of religious belief. He frequently describes him as being one of the greatest threats who has ever existed in the world. Now, Genos is an intelligent being who uses logic and data collection to inform basically everything he does. You would think he'd be able to process rational arguments like, there's no actual evidence of the Mad Cyborg's existence. You encountered it as a powerless human child, and it doesn't make sense to base your strength assessment on that memory now that you're an S-class death machine. And even your own account of what actually happened, that a small village was destroyed, is not that impressive of a feat in the modern day. So if despite all that factual data, Genos still believes that the Mad Cyborg has power on a level with Saitama, well, I think that has to mean something. And if I can put my internet prediction hat on for just a second, hey, what did you think an internet prediction hat would look like? This makes me more convinced than ever that the Mad Cyborg has to be connected to God in some way. If I wanted to guess wildly, it would either be that A, DriveNet is being used by God in a similar way Psychos was, or B, that God may have played a role in Genos' construction as a cyborg. Hi everybody, thanks so much for watching. I just want to say I really appreciate all the support that this channel has been getting since we started. We're learning a lot as we go, and I think we're finally starting to figure out what we want this channel to be and where we're going to take it. So we have a lot of fun stuff planned, but if you have any feedback or if there's anything you want to see, let us know and we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Cheers.